This is TWiT.
Group of Cal students is constructing the entire University of California campus in Minecraft. See, this I want to see. I got to jump ahead a little bit.
Lockley University.
Yeah, there's high schools in New York and other places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's not even that. It's a GoDaddy ad. Here we go. Minecraft graduation. Look at that. It's pretty. They've got. Yeah. That's nice. Impressive. Oh, they even built the Cal Bowl. There's
stadium.
Blockley. University of California,
like
Blockley. Because these guys, that's what they do, man. I'm watching this generation. They're so good at Minecraft builds. And why not create it? Look at that. Looks just like.
Well, and musicians are doing like performances in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like this is basically Second Life.
Actually, this leads us to Siva Vaidyanathan's tweets, which scared the hell out of me. He's a professor. He's at, where's he? Georgetown? Where's he?
No, University of Virginia.
Virginia. That's right. UVA. Thomas Jefferson's University. He, it sounds like he's very worried that if there is no college in the fall, which is still a possibility, that many universities will just go out of business.
Especially colleges.
Colleges, state schools, yes or no? No,
state schools, we're terribly worried about our budget because, our budget comes from Cuomo, and now we all have to love him, and we do.
Well, but he's got other
But he tends
priorities.
to be very tough on our budget,
some universities are proposing in the face of this. Here's Purdue's President Daniels saying, what if we have the students come and lock the doors?
Basically, yeah. It's a very controversial letter, but he's arguing that, the young people don't really have any risk, and we can, we're, in a small town, and so we can, all but build a wall around it, and we got to get back.
But they're not going to stay there.
Of course not.
Well, and it's also some question whether young people are so immune.
No, the stories, two things. One is the stories about blood clotting and strokes are absolutely frightening among younger people. Two is it has an impact on, we don't know the full impact yet on other organs.
And the CDC said that one of their theories was that young people are carriers, but may not contract it, but they may be asymptomatic carriers.
The truth is,
then they all go home to their
We
parents.
Just don't know. There's so much we don't know about this virus.
Young people do get it.
We just don't. They do get it, of course, but maybe they don't get it as bad, but still, we don't know. This is a novel virus, and it takes years to really understand the mechanism of these things. And so I think we assume, oh, look, we're amazing. What science can do, it's incredible. We should know everything by now about this virus. We don't. They're just mysteries. We don't know.
We don't.
So,
in fact, there's been a couple of really good articles. I think The Atlantic had one, just going through all the stuff we don't know.
Right.
We don't know how it kills people, really. It seems to kill people in multiple ways, affecting multiple organs, clotting, sometimes lung. Like we literally, there's more we don't know than there is that we know.
So which is the form of journalism we should have all the time, Matthew.
What we don't know.
It should start with what we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that at CGR, actually.
Really?
How bad journalists are at saying, I don't know.
Humans
and
are
here's
bad
what
at
we
that.
don't know.
Humans are terrible
humans
at
in
that.
particular are bad at it. But at a time like this, it's even more important for the media to say, we don't know. We literally do not know the answer to this question. It's really important, and we can tell you what people are saying about it, but we cannot give you. And I think for a long time, the media tried to seem infallible and omniscient, and I think that's backfiring.
So this is the president of Brown University, Christina Paxson, in the New York Times today. College campuses must reopen in the fall, and she's also proposing the same thing. Brown has a fence all the way around it. I guess you could lock the fence. My mom is nearby in Cranston. I would hate for her to have health problems because we got 5,000 kids in dorms.
Exactly.
From all over the country and world.
Tweeted too. He said nobody goes to Brown. It's tiny. Most students, they're in junior colleges, they're in state universities, they're not living in dorms, they're not going to dining halls, they're not in a closed and controlled environment.
Right. So what's wrong with Zoom? What's wrong with online education? I thought this might be the beginning of a new wave in education. It's not as good.
It works. No, I think it works really well.
You're doing it, right?
I'm taught in Zoom. I'm teaching older students. I also taught. I did a class at an undergrad class, like 40 students. And funny, undergrads are just different. They were twitchy and twitchy because I was boring. But I'm teaching graduate students, and it works pretty damn well. And the problem is that there's certain things you want to do in person, but there's a lot you could do. I mean, it really should change. I've been thinking for a long time that we should be changing how we use classroom time. We shouldn't be teaching skills in classroom. We should be teaching them outside the classroom and doing other things while we're in. It's an opportunity to learn new ways, but I feel even in a place where I am, where we change a lot, universities don't change.
No. I've had long conversations with my father, as we were talking about before the show, was a longtime college professor, now retired. And he this is well before COVID. This is 10 years ago. He talked a little bit about how the original idea of universities, going back to Cambridge and Oxford, was scholars gathering for a colloquia. It wasn't about students sitting in a lecture as a professor taught them. It wasn't like a high school is with a teacher and students. It was more collegial. That's where that word comes from. It was a colloquium of scholars on a topic, kind of more something more a little Talmudic, more like the kind of rabbinical studies, just talking about the Talmud. And he thought that actually that's how the in-person part of a university should be. And the rest, the lecture stuff, all of that stuff, he thought even then could be online. It doesn't need to be in person. But there is an in-person component. But it's not the teaching part. In fact, that's actually a philosophy in high schools. In fact, education all over the world right now, they call it flipping, where instead of going to school to get the lecture and then going home and struggling alone with your homework, you flip it. The lectures are at home at night, and where you go to school is to work to collaborate with your peers under the auspices of a teacher to understand the material, to do the homework at school, and do the lectures at home.
I was up for a deanship somewhere some time ago. Didn't take it. I decided to stay where I am. Wasn't offered it either. I backed out. But as I was brainstorming with myself how to think about this, it's a little trite what I'm about to say, but not for the first time. But what you need is a genius bar, right? You need the ability for students who are trying to learn, who get in trouble, can go to somewhere, go to people, and say, "Help me with this," and that they're self-directed and they know what the goal is. They want to get to that goal and outcome, and they learn how best they can get there, and then you help them. You provide services for them to do that. But that doesn't mean spending 45 hours in a classroom all together, all at the same time, at different speeds, learning the same thing.
So instead of saying, as these two university presidents are, let's just figure out a way to keep doing what we've been doing all along. Maybe there's financial constraints. It's certainly, universities lose money. It's certainly very expensive. Even these elite private schools lose money. But maybe we can rethink what education is at this point. My son has been online in high school, his whole high school experience. He's a senior. He'll graduate in December because he's accelerated because of his online experience. And he loves it. He's very happy with it. In fact, we were talking about going to the regular school for his senior year so he could be with his friends and socialize and stuff, because that's all senior years anyway. And he said, but they're going to want me to do debate, and I don't want to do any public speaking. He's happier, frankly, in the online school. He's really found a way. And I listen, and he's talking. There's other students talking. There's communication. This is a generation that's grown up. When he plays video games, his friends go home to play video games with him. They're all online. They can't play next to each other. They have to go home to their computer. And then they're all on Discord and they're talking, and that's his social life, and that's what he grew up with. Now, I don't want to judge it. It's not what my social life looked like, but it seems to work for him. So I don't know. So
what choices, if he goes to college,
He's going to have to go to the regular JC. I don't think there's any online.
That's what I'm at. Maybe now. There are going to be more options that aren't, because that was one of the great Instagram accounts. You're all just going to online school now. Don't make fun of what's it called? Not Pacific. Well, Pacific's
University
one of them.
of Pacific. Yeah.
University of Pacific, right? Brown, you're online. Harvard, you're online.
Just like everybody
Pacific,
else.
You're online, right?
But it's a great equalizer. Honestly, do you even need to go to a university nowadays? We got to find a way to make it financially worthwhile, but you can take courses from Stanford, MIT, Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard's incredible computer science course, CS50, is free online, and it's awesome. It's really great. In fact, I'm trying to encourage these high schoolers to take a freshman year course from Harvard because it's the best computer science course out there.
Right.
And any kid anywhere without the means, we do have to figure out how that makes that work. But I mean, Harvard honestly loses money on every student. They survive through the endowment of the alumni. So maybe there's some way of making that work. I don't know. It's a different model. Harvard's very, very expensive. But most students, by the way, and I apologize. I swore at Harvard 2 weeks ago because I followed the news instead of reading the real story. Harvard got $8 million, and I thought it was from the stimulus relief package. It was actually a package intended for higher education to go to students because most of Harvard students are on scholarship because it's so damn expensive. And it was to support those students, and it was completely reasonable for Harvard to do that. So
students, it's a lot of money. So in the case of CUNY, because CUNY is a city university, and we unlike Columbia, where Matthew is, we serve the people.
Right.
And so the money that came was tied to students with Pell Grants, which did us as a graduate school no good. But CCNY, you're on Pell Grants to be there, then it was.
I think that was the same intent.
I think so.
The money Harvard took, completely appropriate. I apologize, Harvard. I still hate you, but only at football.
For different reasons.
Only in football.
Many different reasons.
No, I don't hate Harvard.